Hello, hi, my name is Dr. Karen Perez, and tonight's session we'll be talking about creating and sticking to a study schedule. So we're like on a treadmill. We have work, we have school, we have children, we have parents, grandparents that we have to take care of. We have a social life. So creating a study schedule is a vital part of being successful on the NCLEX. And not only creating it and put it down on the desk or keep it on your device, but creating that study schedule and sticking to it. So the objectives of this session is that you should understand the importance of a study schedule. We will go through how you can create a study plan and tips on how to implement the study plan. So what is a study plan? A study plan is an organized schedule outlining study times and the learning goals, meaning that you're saying on December 7th, which is Tuesday, I'm going to study from 1 to 5 o'clock. And during this session, I want to understand the cardiovascular system, how it operates, how it works, what are the disease processes, and what are the treatments. So that's what we talk about when we talk about learning goals. Just like with work or school schedules, students should develop a schedule that's set aside dedicated for time to study each week. So this schedule should include dates, time, subject matter that will be studied, and also the method of how you'll be studying. Because as you know that there's more than one way to study. Some people study by reading, which I don't particular agreeing to sit down and read a textbook from back to front when you're preparing for the NCLEX. Some people study by doing questions. I love that method of studying. Some people study by watching videos. So make sure that when you're setting your study schedule, that you actually put on the organizer or the plan in the planning stage, how you will be studying and what you will be studying. So why do you need to study? Hey, it is like a no-brainer. You need to pass the NCLEX. That's number one. Why do you need to study? You need to pass the NCLEX. So your life is already hectic: work, children, husbands, wife, housework, and last but not least, studying. Your life is packed. So time management can be very challenging. Creating a study plan allows you to see how you spend your time and to ensure that you are setting aside enough time for study. So study plans are particularly important now that you're out of class and preparing for the NCLEX. Because here's the thing, when you're in nursing school, you know, the teacher said the assignment is due this day or you're having a test that day, so you have no choice but to study. Once you're out of school and the date that you said the NCLEX is up to you, or your schedule, you say, oh, I'll study tomorrow, tomorrow comes, I'll study the next day. There's no form of accountability. So it is so critical that you create a study plan. So it is common for athletes, especially for Olympic athletes, to spend at least 4 to 8 years to train in a sport before they join an Olympic team. So you hear that? 4 to 8 years training. So you spend, some of you who have an associate's degree may spend 2 years studying, some of you 4 years studying. But when it comes to the NCLEX, this is where the last leg stretch comes in, that you have to put in enough time and energy to make sure that your end goal is that you become a registered nurse. I normally say this, that to prepare for one moment, athletes practice thousands of hours just for that one moment, just for that one spotlight. You are no different. You have to study hours upon hours for that one test. It is the same concept. With Olympic athletes, they plan out their training schedule years in advance so they can work towards and hit that specific goal. You are no different. You need to plan a schedule in order to become successful on the NCLEX. So let's look at the US gymnast Simone Biles. Has previous said that she trained for 32 hours a week Now, some of us work 32 hours a week. Some of us work 40. This is a work week. She trained 32 hours a week in order to be the top of her game and to be the best that she is at right now. So I know some of you are going to say, I cannot afford to study for 32 hours because I have work, I have school, I have other responsibilities. I understand that. And you're not an Olympic champion or an Olympic gymnast. I get that. But the concept is the same, that you need to study and you need to practice. And that is a priority. Do you want your life to change? Do you want to become a registered nurse? Do you want to start helping people during this pandemic? Do you want to increase your income from where it's right now? Then you need to put in the time and you need to set the time aside to study. Michael Phelps told CNN that he practiced every single day in the pool for 3 to 6 hours, doing separate exercises on dry land 4 to 5 days a week. So these athletes put in some serious time. So you need to put the time in. You need to find out what is a priority. And I know family, work, and so forth is a priority. But then in order to make sure that they're getting sufficient time and attention, you need to write and to create a schedule. Let's look at Usain Bolt. So Usain Bolt said that he did not exploit any kind of magic secret to become the fastest man in the history. Like, I've heard students say, you know what, I'm going to go and I'm going to test it out to see what the NCLEX is like. There's no testing how the NCLEX is like. That's a psychological suicide. Because once you go to the NCLEX, even though you're going to see to test it out what it feels like, you want to pass. So you want to prepare yourself. There's no magic to it, but preparation. Bolt said that he did this by combining consistency. Listen to that, consistency, focus training with obvious talent. So you're talented because you've already completed nursing school, but you need to be consistent in your studying. And you also need to be focused, which is vital in being successful on the NCLEX. So first, you want to make sure that you analyze your current study habit and learning style. So you want to answer a few questions. Are you able to study for long blocks of time, once or twice a week? So you need to ask yourself that. So that will give you a sense of how many hours will you need. Do you need short bursts of hours to study, or can you take long blocks? Is it more effective if you study nightly for 30 minutes? Like for me, I am a night owl, so I don't really like daytime studying, so I normally study in the evening. So what is your preference? What works for you? Are you more productive at a certain time of the day? And even with this, if you are not a morning person, do not take your test in the morning, take it in the afternoon. If you're not a morning person, do not study in the morning because you're not going to retain the information study in the evening. Do you retain material better if you study a subject immediately after the class, or do you need a break first? How soon do you plan to take the NCLEX? That plays a role. Because if you're saying that I want to take the NCLEX in a month, then you need long hours of studying. Then you know that you need to get a schedule of what topics you'll be covering during that time. So analyze your studying habit, and your studying style is also important. Then evaluate your current schedule and time management. So this is an example of what my schedule looks like on my Google Calendar. I put my bills here. Then you will see who do I have to meet, where do I need to go, and so forth. So you can plug in. Now I'm looking, this is my current calendar. So if I were studying, then I will know where to put blocks of time to study. So this is November. I noticed on Sunday, I have nothing. On Monday between 11 and 5, I am free. On Tuesday between 11 and 6 or 7, I'm free. So look at your schedule and to see what time you have taken up already and what time is available for you to study. Plan how much time you need to study for each. And this says class, but it also could mean topic area. So you know that there are 4 client needs and 4 sub categories. So if you're talking about management of care, How much time do you think you're going to need for management of care? How much time do you think you're going to need for safety and infection control? How much time you'll need for physiological adaptation or psychological adaptation, mental health, or whichever topic that you're going to study? How much time? What is your current standing on that topic, and how much more time you need to study? So all of that will be based on your current knowledge. Like, for example, I have a student who told me that, Dr. Perez, maternity is not my cup of tea. Whenever I do any tests, I notice that I score low on maternity. So maternity is that student low point. So I tell the student, focus more on maternity. Start off first with maternity. Do you reading or studying speed? How fast do you read? If you're a slow reader and it may take you some time to grasp, or you're going to need to look up something, that will tell you how much time you'll need. In addition to that too, is your ability to retain the information. And I can tell you, for me personally, there are different types of learners. There are auditory learners who learn by hearing. There are visual learner who will learn by seeing. There are learners who are tactile, who learn by doing. I am a more visual and auditory learner. I need to read, see, and watch the video. So that's my best learning style. If I should sit down and read a book, I will not retain half the information. Now, if I do have to sit down and read, what I will do is I will read it and record it. And I advise that big time. Whenever you're going to read and record it, because that means you only need to read it once, and you can play it over while you're in your car. You could play it over while you're in your kitchen. So make sure that you read and record your reading. But what will determine the amount of time that you need also is your retention abilities. If you retain the information when you read it, or do you need to go over it multiple times before it is retained? Developing a schedule. So use the test blueprint. Select what topic you will study on which day. For example, on Monday and Thursday can be set aside for physiological adaptation, while Tuesday and Friday set aside for devoted for psychosocial integrity. So if your schedule is busy, you may have to be somewhat flexible and creative in finding time to study. And so let me say this. So if you commute on the bus, you can say, okay, while I'm on the bus, I'm going to listen to a video, or I'm going to read something on my phone. So that is where the flexibility comes in. Or perhaps your job allows you to study when it's not busy. Some students may do home health. There are CNAs and they're doing private duties. So the job allows them time during their break that you can study or look over something. What I will say is that do not schedule those time in your study time. Those will be brought on whatever you're doing. But when you're studying, you need to set aside time specifically for studying. But if you're in the bus, instead of being on Facebook or Instagram, take out the app and answer some questions. Or if you have an ebook, read the ebook. So one of the hardest things for people to do is sticking to that plan. So sometimes if they're there studying for a long period of time, they may need to take a break. That's one way that you don't feel burnout. So instead of studying from morning to night, you can take an interval of an hour break every 5 minutes, or every 5 hours, or every 6 hours, whatever works for you. And also schedule time for other activities. So it cannot be studying 24/7, 44/8. Study time, a lot of time to spend with family for social engagement, time with family. So make sure that time is scheduled in for family members. Maintain accountability. And what this is if you say you're going to study on Monday at 3 o'clock, make sure that you study Monday at 3 o'clock. What you can do is have other family members tell them, listen, I'm going to study during this time. Can you hold me accountable? Send me a text, say, hey, are you studying? And so have someone help to hold yourself accountable first, but have someone else hold you accountable will help. Evaluate your study plan and adjust if it's needed. So if you design a study plan and it doesn't work for you, then what you can do is modify it to something that actually works for you. So there are different things that can be used to design a study plan. There's a calendar called the calendar app. This is something that you have to purchase. And again, I'm not endorsing any of these. I'm just letting you know what's out there. So if you look at my screen, you will see that this states clean fish tank, interview with Alex. So you can actually plug in your study schedule and then it will come up on your phone and even alert you. So that's a calendar app. Then there's a study planner. This is designed specifically for study, where you will see chemistry, English, geography. So these can be changed to the client needs, like safe infection control, management of care, physiological adaptation, psychological integrity. So those can be designed in this way too. And it will alert you when the time, your studying time is there. Another app is my homework app, or a homework program. There is a free basic and then there is a premium. Again, I'm not endorsing any of these, but if you think that there's also good old paper and pen and paper, but with the use of electronic devices now, if you want it on your phone, that it alerts you that your studying session is coming up. Then in addition to that, there's a good old Google. I use Google. I showed you my Google Calendar. Because when I plug these things into Google, it actually, when the time comes, I can set it, alarm me 10 minutes before the time. And then Google will alarm me before 10 minutes before that event or before my meeting or whatever I schedule. So I can advise you to do the same thing. So using these study tips and strategies, I can tell you they have worked. I've shared this information with students, they've applied it and it works. So if you applied, it can work for you too. But here is one of the greatest things that cause failure is someone who do not plan. So a lot of times people don't get up and say, oh, I'm going to plan and how to fail. What they do is fail to have a plan. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm looking forward in meeting you in my NCLEX review class. Thank you so much.